All right, so here's how you set up your filter paper. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna fold it in half, and then you're gonna fold it in half again until you have something that looks like this, which is a little pie slice. Now what you're gonna do is on the corner of the pie slice where it opens up, kind of like Pac-Man, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your scissors, you're gonna open it up like a fortune cookie, and you're gonna trim the corner off of one side. Now what this essentially does is it helps to seal it to your filter. So when you refold it, you'll see that there's that little trimmed edge and then there's this pointy edge. Now what you're gonna need next is you're gonna need your filter funnel, the paper, as well as it asks for the 50 mil graduated cylinder, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the filter into this cylinder and then we're gonna put the filter paper attached. So here's how it goes. When you look at this filter, what you wanna do is you wanna pop open one side. So I'll show you what that looks like. So here's your filter. Here's the part with the cutoff end and the pointy end. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my 2 fingers and I'm gonna squeeze, and you'll notice that it makes a pocket. You're now gonna take that and you're gonna put it into your funnel. Now, one of the things that will happen that you'll notice is if I let go, it kind of pops out. So we want to avoid that. So what we're gonna do, again, we're gonna take this, we're gonna pop it open like an envelope. We're gonna put it into our funnel. I'm gonna have you hold it with 2 fingers. And then what you're gonna do is you're going to add some filtered bottled water to it. And you're gonna let that drain. Now what that's gonna do is it's going to make the filter paper damp. And then what that will do as a result is help that filter paper stick to the edges of your funnel. So now what you can see is I have my wetted filter paper funnel. It's sticking in there. And now what we can do is we can filter our product. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna take this guy here, and what we wanna do, if we can, is we wanna pour off some of the excess liquid rather than putting it into the filter. So what you can do, because the copper is fairly heavy, is you can take a cup. I'm gonna use one of the styrofoam cups in my equipment kit. You can use a plastic cup too. We're gonna tip this really slowly and we're gonna decant off as much of the liquid as we can. And we wanna try to hold on to the copper. The other thing that we would like to do is we'd like to remove those chunks of aluminum. So I'll show you what I'll do. So I'm gonna get off the majority of the liquid. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a finger and pull out the pieces of aluminum foil, like the big chunks. Okay, as much of them as I can. Okay. Now I'm gonna leave some of the liquid in my container. What you can see is that it's helping to kind of keep the copper sulfate able to pour. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start pouring my copper sulfate into my funnel. So a little bit of liquid might come out, and that's okay. And then what you can do, because that copper sulfate might be a little bit tricky or maybe a little bit stubborn to get out, what we can do is we can use the plastic spoon from earlier and we can transfer our copper sulfate to the filter just using the spoon. Okay. So again, we just want to give this a second to kind of dry out. One thing that I can see right off the bat is I've produced so much copper that it may not fit into this filter all at once. So what you can do, and it doesn't necessarily say this in the procedure, but it's just something that you can do, is what you can do is you can take this copper that you've collected and we can put it into a weigh boat. And then I'll show you what to do with that after. So I'm basically doing this in 2 iterative rounds. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna pour it into my filter paper. I'm gonna replace my filter. I'm gonna keep this to the side. And then I'm gonna filter the rest of my copper just to make sure we get off as much liquid as possible. So again, we just wanna get as much of that out of there as possible into our filter. Okay. All right. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna transfer this to my weigh boat. Okay. So you wanna get that copper off there. You wanna scrape your filter plate paper to get off as much as possible. So I'm gonna get my spoon back and I'm gonna scrape off my copper. Okay. Once I'm done with that filter paper, I can go ahead and throw it out. Now here's what we're gonna do. The idea is we wanna dry this copper product so that when we weigh it, there's no sort of contribution to the mass by water or foil. So what I recommend doing is you're gonna take your second piece of filter paper, that's big, I'm gonna put it on my chemical tray, which I have over here. So I have my filter paper on my chemical tray. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dump out this copper product onto this fresh filter. And right away when I do that, you can see that the filter is actually absorbing moisture from the copper sulfate product. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set that there and we're gonna let it dry. Now you can use the air dry method or the oven dry method. That will be at the discretion of your instructor, but that is the last part of the experiment. Now in terms of cleanup, all of the liquid waste can go down the sink with lots of running water. So for instance, this liquid, I'm gonna get the pieces of foil out with my spoon. So I'm gonna take my foil, scoop it out with my spoon into the regular trash. And then what I'm gonna do is the liquid waste is going to go down the sink with copious amounts of running water. Okay. So you can hear the water running in the background. Now, once you're done with this product and it's dried and weighed and you get your stoichiometric yield, that can then go straight into the regular trash. So good luck, everybody. Like I said, make sure to keep on all your safety equipment while you're cleaning up your station, and best of luck with this reaction.